I'm not very emotionally restrained. My emotions are kind of like a river that I put the canoe in, throw out the oars, and go, fuck it. We actually first met in 2008. We were both political activists. And she shows up at a paleontology dig, an out of state one, and just like walks right up to me and says, "Hey." I was so flabbergasted it was her that I actually called her by the wrong name. She was gorgeous, like, shorter than I, curly hair, just like really fit. The entire relationship lasted about 5, almost 6 years. And at the time, I was a rather weak person, weak-minded, deceitful because I was ashamed of where I actually came from. And yeah, like in just inventing shit. Like, oh no, I went here, I did this. Just, grandiose stories of a life that didn't exist because someone like that doesn't go for someone like me. I'm literally a lower middle class, fat white kid from the San Fernando Valley. Because of that, I had severe body issues. And at the time, I also had a bunch of unresolved mental diagnoses. I didn't know that I was bipolar. I didn't know that I had Asperger's syndrome. I didn't know that I had chronic anxiety. She saw through all that, and she saw through all the deceit and the lies and the distrust. My big problem with that is, oh, she's totally going to find someone better. So there was immediate level of distrust on me. And she admitted that she cheated on previous boyfriends. Every year, I would go off and do something, and then she would go off and do something, kind of like just our September thing. And then when we got back together, she picked me up at the airport. She had a hickey on her neck. The next morning, I see some bruises on her body. I'm like, where'd these come from? It's like, oh, we were building things. And I'm like, oh, it hit my leg. I dropped something. I'm all that. I'm like, yeah, you got bruises everywhere. And I'm like, legs, got one on your arm, one's on your neck. She's like, yep. Nothing about it. A couple weeks later, I'm just like, did anything happen? Did you cheat on me? Well, yeah, I kissed someone. Okay. Do you want to explain the bruise on your neck? Oh, we made out. Okay. And I'm like, did anything else happen? Immediately goes into a defensive. I'm not going to tell you anything else. I'm not going to tell you who it is or where they are. Are you still talking to this person? I'm not going to tell you that. The one thing I was always afraid of, being replaced, being pushed aside for someone else, actually occurred. And it just unraveled from there. And then I realized that I was a weak person that was latching on to somebody, unfortunately, who was incredibly insecure. People have been saying if I would give her, a second chance. And at first I was. She deserves it. She gave me so many chances. There's another part of me that goes, no. Because I'm really starting to remember things that you said. Like, I would say I'm in love with you, and she would say I'm in love with the way you love me. We hadn't talked for about a month and a half. It was the day after Thanksgiving. And she called me and said that my friend died in a horrible accident. Then the night she died, I gave her a kiss on the cheek. I said her performance was wonderful. And then she died falling off a ladder right near the venue, but while I was still there. So I was coming down the driveway and I looked across the street and there were a whole bunch of ambulances. And I went, I wonder what happened. Turned left and went home. So the first person to tell me that my friend died was my ex. And I lost my shit. I couldn't handle that. I was having a complete meltdown. I did something that I shouldn't have done, but she was the only one I could reach out to. I went, can I come over? She's like, no, I'll come over to you. Then the cycle started again. Finally, in January, I went a messenger. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is too much. I have to stop talking to you. And then it just kind of stopped, and I started hanging out with friends again. Went out on a date. I don't go to an entire side of the city just because I may run into her. I don't go to her haunts. There's a really great beer bar that I'm always wanting to go to. I don't go there because it's where her friends all go and it's where she goes. I don't want to do this anger anymore. I'm not weak anymore. I've found myself. Unfortunately, a little bit of myself is an asshole. Do I want her back? A part of me, absolutely. I will strip myself bare and come at her like a newborn and just go, please. But there's a very large growing part of me that just says, no, don't do it.